I don't think I had the best childhood for sure, just because like my parents were divorced, so I never like met my mom. My grandma was kind of like the mother figure in my life, and my dad was just kind of just working and really wasn't there. So my father figure, I would say, is Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. A lot of the TV shows during that time had amazing father figures. I went to school, public school and everything, and I felt like I was kind of awkward because I didn't know how to make friends. I was never taken to like social functions or like meeting with other families and kids. What really got me to become more socially aware of just like my surroundings or how to make friends was through video games. And during the time going to Chinatown Fair, that was kind of like the hub where I met so many people, had so many conversations with, and I didn't understand a lot of like different slang or how people talk. So growing up with all that and trying to process and learn, and also learn how to play fighting games, that really changed a lot. I think what changed the most was when I was in middle school and nobody wanted to be friends with me, right? So then there was a group of like Asian kids and they're playing Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. And you know, I wanted to like find a way to communicate with them because they go to my school. So I put my quarter in and I didn't know what I was doing. I'm just like mashing like a scrub, right? Everyone mashes like a scrub when they first play fighting games. And they pretty much laughed at me, saying I suck. And if you want to become friends with me, you have to be good at the game. There was this like little candy shop like 2 blocks away from my house in 14th Street. It's called Raoul's Candy Store. And they had a Marvel Superhero versus Street Fighter cabinet. So I spent my whole summer just playing Marvel Superhero Street Fighter. First I started mashing, figure out how to do special moves, and then I started realizing like when watching the computer, I'm like, how do I do these air combos? So I just like kind of like started pressing the buttons like I'm dialing a payphone back in the day. And I realized this is how you do combos. With those combos, I actually went back when school started again in the fall, and I met those kids again and we played and I beat them. After I beat them, they all like, wow, you're so good and everything, and then we became friends. And I think that's kind of how I started fighting games, was because I was like, oh, so this is how I got friends, was to play fighting games. So I started trying to get better, playing different fighting games and having conversations with other people, because if I was better than them, they would ask me for tips. And that's kind of, I would say, most of my childhood leading up to going to my first tournament.
Even at my first tournament, I took it. I didn't even know it was a tournament at first, so I took it as a regular thing where I just play a bunch of people. So I just think about that, like, oh, you know, I went to the arcade, put $1 on the machine, and just playing for fun. That's all I really think about.
Growing up, my family never wanted me to go to the arcade. They're like, it's dangerous. Gangs go there, like bad people, you know, like drugs, all that stuff. But I never listened to them. I kind of like pretend I went to my friend's house, but actually I'm going to Chinatown Fair. Because to me, I never had to deal with like gangs. I don't even know, like, how do you even recognize a gang member? You know, everyone looks like the same. They're putting quarters, they're playing fighting games. They look like they're coming from school. They look like they're coming from work. I would say that was like the Chinatown Fair environment. Everyone was super nice. Even when I was broke, I didn't have no money, like I'll stand by the machine watching them play, and then they were like, you want to take my second round? I was like, yeah. So that's how I kind of like learn, as well as like showing them like the combos, showing them the strategy, showing them how to beat the last boss of like Gil or like Apocalypse and the X-Men of Street Fighter. It was a really good time, because when you first go to Chinatown Fair, it's mainly known as a fighting game arcade. So the first machine you see is like SVC Chaos, and the next machine is X-Men of Street Fighter, then the next machine is like Street Fighter EX, then the Third Strike, then CVS2, then 2 Marvel 2 cabinets, and ST in the back. And everyone had their own little community, and I was able to involve myself with all the communities because I played all the fighting games at the arcade. Because if I had my quarter up and I lose, I don't want to wait like 20 minutes for the next round, so I'll go to another machine and play there. It's just really cool that like right now we have all this online FGC, the Discord groups, but in the arcade, everyone had their own little clique, their own little community corner with like these games that they specialized in. Marvel vs. Capcom 1 came out, right? I was beating my friends there as well too. So I thought I was the best. I was like, I'm the best here, right? No matter what, nobody could beat me. You know, after school, it's like 3 p.m. You go there, then you gotta go home by 5. One day, the holidays, like, oh, there was no school that day, or there was snow day, I stayed at the arcade till like 8 p.m., right? And after 5 p.m., that's when people got off work. And then you had a new horde of people came in. And I didn't know those people existed, like adults. These players are called the 4 Venoms: Josh Wigfall, Mike D, Rich, and Eddie Lee. And they were playing Marvel 1. And I could not beat them at all. It opened my eyes. I started wanting to hang out with them. I actually stopped hanging out with my school friends, and I wanted to hang out with the older people because they could teach me more about fighting games. I lost a lot of my quarters just trying to find a way to play them. And this is like not when like people were sharing information like now. Now you can find an answer from anybody on social media. Back in the day, I'm just like how do you do this strategy? Like they're like, figure it out your own. Or I'll just look at their hands, and then they'll like try to cover their hands and everything. But once you become friends with them, they'll tell you. So I would say that's kind of the type of people that I ran into Chinatown, and I loved every second of it because it really showed me how different people really can be. Yeah, actually my first fighting game tournament was Marvel's Capcom 1. There was a major tournament called East Coast Championship 5. I did not know this tournament existed. I actually didn't know what the definition of a tournament was. Normally I go to the arcade every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, at 10 a.m. right when they open. Nobody is at the tournament at the arcade at all. I go there at 10 a.m. and there's like a horde of people, like 20, 30 people. And I'm like, and I know some of them. I was like, why are people here? They're like, yeah, we're about to go to New Jersey to go eat on the break. I was like, what's that? It's like another arcade. And I'm like, wait, there's another arcade? I didn't know there was other arcades that existed. I thought it was, if at best, there was like little candy shops, like Raoul's Candy Shop I mentioned, those type of places. They're like, yeah, there's another arcade. We gotta take a train, go to New Jersey. I was like, oh, I never been to New Jersey. He's like, you wanna come? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Sure, why not? I go there and I see like hundreds of people from like tri-state area that I never seen before. There was John Choi there, Alex Valle was there. I didn't know who these people were. And the funniest part is I got 5th place that tournament out of like 300 to 400 people. So I didn't know how good that was or how big of a deal that was. But to them, they're like, wow, you did really good. But the problem was that this tournament ended at like midnight, and I didn't know the time flew so fast, so I couldn't go home that day. And because there was no Ubers, the train stopped running past 12 in New Jersey. But then I called my dad, and he was pissed. He was so upset because he's like, oh, you need to tell me beforehand if you're staying over at a friend's house. I just said I'm staying at a friend's house. I'm not saying, hey, I'm in New Jersey at this arcade and I can't get home. Like, you know, I'm not trying to get my ass beat. It was such a great time because after playing in that tournament, I was so addicted to like, when's the next tournament? I want to go to more different places and play more different people. I think that's really what sparked my like competitive drive. I didn't care about winning. I cared about making friends and, you know, meeting new people and them like having a conversation with me, because growing up I was just like this socially awkward kid. So it really worked out just like finding out this tournament existed, especially just going at 10 in the morning to the arcade just to play against the computer. Yeah, it showed me the world, really.
Like I used to be banned from tournaments where Justin Wong cannot enter tournaments. I was like, all right, that's cool. I don't really care as long as the scene keeps coming up. Because if there's no scene, then I can't really play, and there'll be no. It won't be banned because you're too good. Yeah.
When people think about East Coast or New York City, they always think about Justin Wong, right? They think about me. But before me, there was Eddie Lee, and I would call him like he's like my sensei. He's like my teacher. I copied everything that he was doing. He was the lamest player alive. People always say I'm defensive, I'm lame. I get it. I learned it because I fought him, and he taught me how this defensive play works so well. So anytime I ever fought Eddie Lee in tournament, I had to be the one to be the aggressor. So beautiful to watch. I remember I played with Marvel 1. I think I spent at least $20 worth of quarters, and I couldn't beat him one single game. He was that legendary to me, and he was that person that I always wanted to surpass. I still don't think I ever like beat him like officially. Like I just kind of just like kept playing and I just kept getting better. But in terms of like heads up score, he definitely has like the huge advantage. Every time we travel together, we play like CVS2 Third Strike, he would actually beat me every single time. But he can't beat other people, but I could beat those other people. It's just me and him, it's just a bad matchup, like 7-3. Like I just cannot touch him. Probably now I could beat him because he stopped playing, but when he was on it, he was really, really on it. So Marvel's Capcom 2, I seen it installed at the arcade. So it just came out, Marvel's Capcom 2. I literally was like, oh wow, we got a new one? Because I already given up that I can't beat Eddie Lee in Marvel's Capcom 1. And I was like, well, I think in Marvel's Capcom 2, I'm gonna be the best. And they all just laughed at me because they all like, no, Eddie Lee's gonna be the best. Because they laughed at me, I just want to just try to prove them wrong. So I just kept playing and playing and playing. And I eventually was able to beat Eddie in Marvel 2. And I won a few tournaments, like little local tournaments, Marvel 2, like around the area. They had a tournament for CVS 1, Capcom vs. K1, and Marvel's Capcom 2 in Virginia. I didn't know about it at the time, and they posted on Shoryuken.com. I didn't even know Shoryuken.com existed yet. When we got to the arcade, Game Time USA, they had the tournament, but we were so late that they had to DQ me to losers. So I started the tournaments in losers for CVS 1 and Marvel 2. But the thing is, I smoked the whole competition. I don't think I lost the game. I actually destroyed the whole tournament with Marvel 2 and CVS 1, and they gave me $1,000. So now it's like 11 p.m. and I'm thinking like, all right, it's time to go home. He's like, Alex is like, yo kid, my car broke down. How am I supposed to get home? Well, the repair shop said they got me on Tuesday. Tuesday? I gotta go to school. So I can't just be stuck here for like 4 days. Like my dad's gonna kill me. I said, what, is there any way I can get home? Anyone can drive me? Well, you could pay the Greyhound and take a bus. So I took the Greyhound by myself at the age of like 14, going from Virginia to New York. And when I got home, it was like 8 a.m. So I opened that door at home. I see my dad's light on. Got $1,000, but my ass about to get whipped, that's for sure. The first time I went to Evo, like when it was like officially changed, it was Evo 2002. And it was just chill, it was a fun tournament. The rules were kind of weird though, because that was the first time they did like, oh, we want to do top 8. Right, on Sunday, the finals day for every game. I fought Kamofine, and he beat me. He put me in losers. But once I made top 8, you would think I started top 8 losers, but they actually reset the whole bracket. If you qualify top 8, everyone starts in winners. Sunday comes, every tournament, every player starts at top 8 winners. So it's an 8-man bracket now, and it just lasted freaking forever. And the reason why was CVS 2, because grand finals back in the day was 4 out of 7. So by the time Marvel's Capcom 2 came out, it was like close to like 10 p.m. and they had to leave by like midnight. I beat Rotron in winners pretty decisively. I think it was like 3-1 or 3-0. So now I'm in the grand finals. And Evo makes an announcement. Due to time constraints, we have to make Evo 1 game grand finals. When the first game happened, grand finals, he beats me the first game. Everyone starts losing it. Everyone starts going crazy.
This is the final game of the tournament.
And then the matches were going, the second game, and he was actually smoking me. And somehow he made the wrong decision to tag. And I was able to block it and capitalize and win from there.
Justin, after his tournament victory, holding up his championship belt, rocking his crown.
Yeah, you get to touch it.
Oh, I can touch the belt. Ooh.
You know, Moment 37 happened in 2004. It pretty much rejuvenated Third Strike scene. Throughout the years from 2004 all the way to 2010, nobody really talked to me about Moment 37. There was like this period that like nobody really cared, or nobody knew it existed because Twitter didn't exist, YouTube didn't exist. So once I guess fighting game community became a little bit more mainstream, where they had people that like little sponsors, Capcom doing their Street Fighter 4 GameStop tournament, and that's when people started like digging into the past of like, oh, this scene's been here for a long time. Let's check out all this other stuff. And then they see Moment 37, they're like, that is the coolest thing ever. That's when I started getting more interviews or asking questions about Moment 37, where it's just like so much. Like even up to this day, people keep asking about Moment 37 because it's like, that's the moment that got me into fighting games or got me interested in fighting games. And it's a beautiful thing because you can't really be salty. Like obviously I'm the person on the losing end, but most of the time I get compliments of saying, I got into fighting games because of Moment 37. how can I be upset about that? Because what if moment 37 didn't happen? Would that person still be involved in fighting games? Maybe not, maybe yes, who knows? But I just love those type of comments because it's like I'm really part of history. I wasn't gonna come to Evo 2008, but I Seth Killian text me. I think you should come because there'll be something really cool that they're gonna show there, which is what he was referring to, Street Fighter 4. He's the reason why I went to Evo 2008. Like even during that time, I didn't realize how important it was to win Evo. I just thought, yeah, I wanted a tournament. It never really dawned to me how important people take like their Evo wins seriously. I would say it's more of like the last 10 years where I was like, wow, these Evo wins, people really consider them as like big accomplishments. When I was growing up, all I can think about is how much money can I make from winning these tournaments. So I went and I won Marvel 2 that year, and I got second at Third Strike. In terms of financially, I still didn't make enough money, but I was able to see Street Fighter 4, and it gave me hope to like continue playing fighting games because I see that Street Fighter 4 is coming out. Even if I didn't go to 2008, I don't think I would have quit fighting games because Street Fighter 4 would have came out regardless, right? If they had the GameStop tournament. But I would have one less Evo if it wasn't for Seth Killian.
And Justin Wong, looks like he's gonna take the 6th world title.
Evo 2009 was such a influential year. It was so good because Street Fighter 4 came out and they had this whole GameStop tournament. You know, I fought against the other qualifiers, the other 15 players that qualified for the GameStop tournament. I won against Mike Rossinen, and there was no money in there. It was really just all exposure. The one of the main reasons why I wanted to win that tournament was they had a promotion with Evo where if you win, if you're in the top 16, you skip pools. So you already start off at quarterfinals. So when 2009 happened, it was such a big upgrade compared to 2008. Like it was insane. I have never seen so many people at a fighting game tournament in my life until 2009. Daigo qualified for top 8. So now this is the salty. I was salty about this. Me and Daigo were in first and second seed. Daigo was first seed and I was like third seed because I fought him in winners semis. They put Ed Ma over me. West Coast bias. We already know, because I smoked Ed Ma the tournament before. I had to fight Daigo, and he put me in losers. But what got me mad about it was I was playing Abel at the time against him. Every time I hit step kick, I couldn't get the combo of standing heavy punch. I told the staff, I was like, hey man, I think there's lag on the TV. And then you know what they said to me? West Coast bias. Bro, you're salty that you lost. I was like, oh my God. A few minutes later, Daigo goes up to them, says something, and they're like, oh, okay. They switched the TV to CRT. Tell me that's not West Coast bias. That's West Coast bias. And then I beat Sanford. I beat Ed Ma. Now it's me and Daigo in the grand finals. I lost the first game. So now I'm just like, all right, it's over. When we played the GameStop tournament, he smoked my Rufus because his reactions were so on point that every time I did a dive kick, he just shoryuken. So I'm looking at the crowd over like hundreds of people. I don't know how many people were there. It was packed. If you look at the background, there's just everyone just watching, sitting on the floor and everything like that. And I see my friend Noel, he stands up and he just does this, which is boxer, Balrog. So I was like, I'll try Balrog. And it kind of led to one of the best grand finals ever. And the funny part about that was that I was so locked in that when I won one of the rounds, I stood up and was like cheering like I resetted the bracket. They had to like tell me, no, you still got another round, Justin Wong standing up, looking to get a little bit of hype from the crowd. He needs it. Daigo was so honorable. He waited for me to sat back down to play the match. And it led to a reset bracket and then went to the final match. Yeah, it was probably one of the best grand finals I was ever a part of.
Oh no, it's all gonna come right down to this. Daigo Umehara takes it. And Justin must admit, that was an excellent match, and the crowd is on its feet. Evolution 2009. Daigo Umehara, the Japanese legend, has returned to face his perennial American opponent, Justin Wong.
Yeah, I get this a lot, where people ask me if I'm gonna compete anymore or whatever. I'm a person that doesn't like to take risks, and it shows in my gameplay, but I think how you play in your game is how you live your life, and I live my life pretty safely.
Welcome to the real world! Time to learn! You wanna learn today!
I chose that route because I have a family to feed, and I don't want to like go to a tournament, and let's say I get 9th place or something, and I come back home and I have nothing to show for it. What really got me super sad was when I was still competing when I had my family, was Evo 2019. I got third at Samurai Showdown and Evo, and they were there. Because they saw me lose, it really just hurt my heart. And now I get a lot of opportunities to do commentary or showcase a game. It's just really consistent, I would say, income that gives me the opportunity to give Harper the best childhood experience that I couldn't have. I think of this, I think of it like I'm not the main character of my story anymore. I'm a side character, I'm a supporting character for my daughter.
Everybody, this is just Wong, and we're here to the amazing video today.
Remember how I mentioned I didn't know how big winning these Evos really meant? I feel the same way with the legacy, because to me, I still have that mentality where my dad and grandma told me, like, you have there's no future in this. I don't know, in my heart it still hits different, where I'm like, really, I'm being successful as his legacy of just winning Evos, winning tournaments, and doing all this really cool stuff for content. I never really thought about that stuff, but what I do know is I'm really glad that I can be like kind of a person that people can like look up to as reference of like, if he can do it, then maybe I can do it. I don't see myself quitting for at least maybe 20 more years. Because I even was talking to my wife about it, like there should be a time where I should think about like, when am I gonna just disappear from this? This is really hard to leave. When people say they finish their legacy, they retire, and I know my legacy is nice, great resume and all, but it just never got to my head. Maybe that's why people like me. I just still think I'm like one of everybody else.